and it's guaranteed to be nasty or just fun. All right, let's just call it the fun nines. Hey everybody, I'm Cassi Niemann. I'm a You Can Row 2 master rowing instructor, and today I'm going to do a workout with you. It is called Nasty Nines. It's a 20-minute AMRAP, which means as many rounds as possible, and it's guaranteed to be nasty or just fun. All right, let's just call it the fun nines. All right, the way it's gonna work, like I said, it's a 20-minute AMRAP, so you have 20 minutes to do as many rounds as possible, and the rounds include a 1,000-meter row. Then you will get off the machine. Then we're going to do 9 mountain climbers. That's 9 on each leg because it's an odd number. Then 9 squat jumps, 9 push-ups, and then we'll get back on the machine and do another 1,000-meter row, and then we get off and again and again and again as many times as we can within that 20-minute range. So before we begin, I'm going to show you the off the erg exercises and give you some potential scaling options. So with the mountain climbers, that's going to be our first exercise. The kind of prescribed way would be putting your hands on the ground, keeping your butt low. You're going to bring one foot up and then switch to the other foot. So we're bringing them up like this, and you can touch both feet. That's one way you can do it. You can also just bring the knee up and switch as you go, okay? So one, touching it at both ends, or bringing the knee up is another option. If those are too difficult, you can incline your hands up and do the same thing so that you are not so much at a full plank position, but with your hands up on a bench or a chair or something similar. Then we are going to do 9 squat jumps. So a squat jump is going to be squatting down to full depth and then jumping up at the top. Now you wanna make sure you land with soft knees. You don't wanna land hard. So you're gonna squat full down and jump up. And then you can go into the next one and you can string them together if you want. If you need to scale that down, you could just do a regular squat. That full depth of the squat we're looking for is the crease of the hips below the top of the knees. All right, so an easier way to get there is by taking your feet about shoulder width apart, sending your knees out to the sides as you reach your hips back and down, all right? Third exercise off the machine is push-ups. Back down on the ground. Obviously, there's lots of scaling options here. On the toes, I prefer you start with your chest on the ground, flick the toes over, squeeze your quads so your kneecaps come up off the ground, squeeze your butt, and press straight up, coming back down, touching your chest on each rep. Now, if you can't do them on your toes, you can bend at the knees, still starting on the ground, squeezing everything tight, and pressing up and back down. Again, touching everything on the ground. What I don't want to see is this. This is just a letdown, not really a push-up, okay? So from the ground, pushing up. Or on the toes, same thing, pushing up. Again, you can also incline and put your hands on something higher and do a push-up to that. It has a scaled option there. Let's get on the machine. We're not gonna go over a whole bunch of rowing tips here. We will do a little warm-up. So when you put your feet in, you wanna put it in so that the strap is at the ball of your foot, the widest part of your foot. It's helpful to have the handle already in place in the hooks. Your damper is gonna be between a 3 and a 5. Before we grab that handle, we're just gonna go ahead and straighten the legs. You're gonna pick your butt cheeks up, right? Notice how my legs are straight while I'm doing that. Picking my butt cheeks up backwards to tilt my hips into a more neutral position, and reach over and touch those toes. So what you don't want to do is be sitting really high up on your butt so you're rounding from your low back. So we're going to pick the butt cheeks up, straighten out our legs, reach over, touch the toes, and then go ahead and grab that handle. We're going to start in the finish position. So we're just going to run through the pick drill here. So we're going to start with arms only. So the pick drill is just a nice easy warm up. And you may find that you'll do the pick drill and then you want to row for 5 or so minutes to get yourself prepared for this workout. So we're going to add in the body in 2. That's 1, 2. So now we've got the arms and body. Body, arms, arms, body. See how that hip hinge comes into play here, right? The rowing stroke is not a rowing stroke until you use your body. So arms, body, body, arms. We're gonna go up to half slide in 2, so halfway up the slide. That's 1, 2. So So arms, body, legs. So still getting that body set, right? We're just coming up halfway. Our legs are not getting the full compression. Got a short little stroke here. And then we're gonna take it up to full slide in 2. So that's 1, 2. And take it all the way up. Getting a nice full stroke. Keeping the arms long and extended up to the catch. Thinking about driving back with the legs. Sitting up nice and tall. Take it just a few more strokes here. And then we're gonna weigh enough, which in rowing terms means stop. And we're gonna rest on this one. And we're gonna put the handle in the hook. I've got a timer here, which I'm gonna set for 20 minutes. So that's gonna keep my overall time. And the way I'm gonna set the monitor, so I'm going to go to select workout, new workout, intervals, and then intervals distance. I'm going to set that to 1,000 meters by using the arrows and the plus and minus. And then I'm gonna go over using the arrows down to where it says set rest time. And right there, that's where I wanna click it, the up and down, the plus and minus, to where it says undefined rest time. So now I have 10 minutes to get off the machine and do whatever I need to do before the monitor expects me to be back to do another 1,000 meters. I believe that I will have 10 minutes. I will be able to do the work within 10 minutes before I need to be back on the machine. So once I'm done, I'm going to click the check mark and then we're all set. Let's put our feet back in. We're gonna start with the rowing. I'm gonna set my timer, sit ready at the catch, press my timer to the go, and row. So these 1,000-meter pieces, it's 100% up to you how hard you want to row during this time. Now, because I'm going to be talking during this workout, I'm probably not going to be rowing at my max intensity. But I also know that if I did row at a very high intensity, that I may not have the capacity to do the exercises once I'm off the machine. So whether or not you're videoing yourself and recording this workout, you may want to moderate your intensity so that you have some energy to do the other exercises and to keep going for 20 minutes. Because 20 minutes doesn't seem that long until you sit on the rowing machine. So I'm holding about a 23 stroke rate, somewhere between a 22 to 24, which is generally where I feel comfortable. So if you're rowing along, trying to match that stroke rate. The nice thing about rowing for meters is you can watch those meters kind of tick down as you go, which is a pleasing sight because the harder you work, the faster they disappear. So, as we're doing these 1Ks, so I reach this middle mark, we want to think about sitting up nice and tall, getting the body angle over out of the finish, breathing. One tactic for breathing. So I like to breathe at the finish and also at the catch. And the breath at the finish is bigger than the breath at the catch. And that's the breath out. So if I take a few strokes here, just focusing on my breath. I get a big blowout, little, big, little. And that matches really well with this stroke rate. So, I've got two little clocks ticking here. I've got about 300 meters on my monitor, 16 minutes on my timer, and I'm just trying to get through this first piece. Now my goal is to get through this round, at least start a second one, which I certainly hope I get to, because I don't know where it's going to end up. I don't necessarily have this big goal or expectation of how many rounds I'll get, and I'm okay with that. I just know I'm going to work for 20 minutes and feel good after. So, we're in that last 100 meters. I'm not going to change anything. Not going to sprint it in. Not going to pick up the pace. Still sitting at a 22 because I have a lot more work to do here once I get off the machine. I'm going to take it through that 0, and then I'm going to rest. So, you can keep rowing after that monitor ticks over to 0. I'm going to fix my fan here. So, you can keep rowing once that ticks over to 0 because you have to press a button to continue. Now, these transitions can be as fast or slow as you'd like. You do you, all right? But we're gonna do some mountain climbers. So, we're gonna do a total of 18. So, that will get us 9 on each leg. Then we're gonna stand up. We're gonna do some squat jumps. All right, so we're gonna reach our butt down, back and down. We're gonna do 9. It's 2, 3. And 9. Then we're gonna head it back down and we're gonna do some push-ups. I'm gonna start on my toes. I may switch to my knees, guys, and I ain't ashamed of it. So we're gonna start on the toes. And 9. All right. So we're gonna head back to the machine. Now, like I said, I had 10 minutes to do all that, which I was pretty sure I would be able to complete. And I do. I still have, well, that only took me less than 2 minutes. It's plenty of time there. My timer's at 13 minutes, so we're gonna start round 2. I'm just gonna press to continue. Here we go. So, round 2 of the 1Ks. Do a little quick focus here. If you didn't adjust your butt cheeks to sitting up tall, you can always adjust while you're rowing. Nothing wrong with that. You are not in a boat with a bunch of other people. You are sitting on your machine all by yourself. So if you need to adjust as you row, you go for it. I'm gonna head back to that 22. About the same pace as the last interval. And, you know, sometimes people think in these workouts that because we're doing some leg exercises off the machine, that maybe if I modified my stroke to use less legs, that I would have an easier time with the other exercises. Well, I would argue that it's unlikely, because then you'll probably overly fatigue your upper body and your arms, maybe even potentially your back. And really, is that compromise worth it? So I would not try to alter your stroke based on the other exercises in your workout. It's probably not going to get you much, and all it'll do is make your stroke less consistent. And in an activity like this, consistency is the queen of all things. So finding a rhythm, feeling strong on every stroke, making this stroke match the last is what's going to make me the most effective rower. So focusing on the same stroke you would do, whether you're in a 20-minute steady state or a 100-meter sprint, the order of operations is always the same. Legs, body, arms, arms, body, legs. Legs, body, arms, arms, body, legs. And the drive, this part, is always going to be slower, or faster, sorry, than the recovery. So the drive is fast, the recovery is slow. And that may not always be super perceptible, because if you're rowing at a very fast stroke rate, you might not see it, but it's there. That ratio is there. Because on the way back up, I'm not doing any extra work. My toes are staying connected to the foot stretcher at all times. There's a very, very slight lift of the heels into the catch, which allows me to get that compression, but not a big lift. And for some of you, they may not need to lift at all. So we are coming up in that last 150 meters, about at the same pace, 22 stroke rate. Breathing when I can. Getting my body over. Out of the finish. Keeping my hands on a tabletop level. Taking it in. So that's 0. All the way through. And one little stroke. Whew. Push those clips down, lift the heels up, grab a sip of water. And we're back to our exercises. I've got 7.5 minutes. So we're gonna do 18 total mountain climbers. And we'll do 9 squat jumps. So reaching those hips back, up and up. soft landing. 6, 7, 8, 9. Starting to feel that burn. It's there. Head down to some push-ups. Chest flat on the ground. Flick the toes, squeeze quads and butt. It's 5. It's okay to take a break in these if you need to, like I am. And 9. All right, we're gonna head back to the machine. We've got 6.5 minutes left. I suspect we may be able to make it through one more round. Or we'll at least make it through one more row and some exercises. Let's get a little butt action. All right, press to continue. Here we go, ready, row. Back in it. Good. Now, if you haven't noticed, I am in my workout shed, club shed, my she shed, as I find that same pace at a 22. You may notice that it is pretty hot. It's the summer. I'm sweating. My hands are sweating. Everything's a little slippery. But I'm not wearing gloves because I can keep my hands from slipping off the handle by keeping a loose grip. So the handle is sitting in my fingertips. I'm not gripping it very tightly. It sort of hangs in my hands as I drive back. My thumb is wrapped, hanging around, but not tight. Not tight at all. And if I find that my grip is getting too tight or my hands are getting too sweaty, I can lift them up in that recovery, right? Just get some air under them. Play the piano on the way up to kind of loosen that grip. If I had to, I could wipe my hand on my pants or a rag if I had one. So before you head straight to the glove department, make sure you're not really gripping that handle, because that will definitely lead to sweaty hands and probably also more calluses. Now, calluses aren't a bad thing, but we don't want it to be so bad that you can't grip the oar or the handle anymore. So we're gonna take 100 meters here at the middle mark to focus in on good form, good technique. Right here, sitting up nice and tall, body hinging out of the finish, not letting my chest drop to my knees. Do a quick peek at my chain. It's on a nice even tabletop there. Not whopping up and down. Thinking about pushing with the legs. We're in that last 350 meters of likely our last piece. So let's make it look nice. For reference, I've been holding somewhere between a 225 and a 230 stroke rate for these pieces, if you're somewhere in that zone. So each piece is taking me about 5 minutes. So if I looked at this workout and knew that that's about where I would hold the split, I would assume I'd probably row 3 times, right? So it'll give you a good idea of how hard you want to work, and what intensity, what speed. So, last 100 meters here, coming up. Thinking about a good push through the legs, hanging on the handle, not letting the fatigue creep into my upper body. Keeping my chin up, eyeballs at the monitor. Last few strokes, no change. Through that 0. And just gonna row a stroke. Go ahead and pop my feet out. Now, I have 45 seconds. So I'm gonna see what I can do in that time. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, last one bit. 8, 9. On the buzzer. 3 full rounds. Well, thank you for joining me in this Nasty Nines experiment. I'm gonna show you what that memory looks on the monitor, and I hope to see you guys rowing strong. So follow us for more info, content, videos, cues, tips, coaching tools, anything you might possibly need. We wanna help you row as strong as possible. All right, thanks. Okay, here's the monitor at the end of the piece that I just did. And as you can see, if I wanted to do another one, I would hit press to continue, and it would bring me back to the 4th 1,000 meter interval. But since we're not gonna do that, we're gonna go ahead and look at the memory. So I'm gonna hit menu, saving. We're gonna go to memory. We're gonna go to list by date. And we see right here at the top, I'm gonna press the magnifying glass. And you can see how it looks, right? I've got my 3 1,000 meter pieces. I did a little bit faster on that first piece at 2:23, and then I went to 2:29. So not bad. You can see that my rest times were pretty similar here in the 1,000 meters, in the off time. It's about 2 minutes of time to do the other exercises. So thanks for joining me.